All right, so StarCraft 2 is playable here for the first time for the public. What are you showing here?
Oh, well, we're showing both Protoss and Terran playable, multiplayer and in a single-player skirmish mode where you can play against a hard, medium, and easy AI. It's there to give people first hands-on. This is a very early peak, but we're really excited to hear early feedback. So,
What sort of feedback have you been getting so far since you announced it in Korea?
well, of course, it was actually overwhelmingly positive. That was the big thing with rolling out StarCraft 2 was, what's the impression? There's a smaller group of people that want reinvention of RTS in general. Our perspective on this was definitely to recapture the magic of the original game, and we did that, rolled it out to overwhelmingly positive response. And so here we wanted to give an opportunity for people to actually get hands-on and play it. It's only 10 weeks after the announcement, so it's really after there. We're still pre-alpha. We don't even have our whole company playing yet. There's a lot more to do, but so far the response has been really positive here as well. We've had some pro gamers out playing with some others, and I think from my first initial comments that I've gotten from people, it's all been really, really positive, so we're really excited.
So at the Worldwide Invitational, we saw the Protoss mostly in all the intro videos. Here we're seeing the Terran for pretty much the first time. In what aspects or ways or whatever have the Terrans changed in StarCraft 1?
Well, we've got a lot of special gimmicks up the Terran sleeve this time around. There's some things like radar that's been given to the Terrans that didn't exist in the original game that allows them to detect units in the fog of war. We have some big Uber units, the Thor unit. We are playing once again into the defensive nature of the Terrans, so there's some other tricks that we actually saw their supply depots in the original during the announcement. And here you can see they actually raise and lower up and down into the ground, so you can actually use them as basically a blocker when you want to against medium and large size units. We keep playing around with these sorts of things, but there's a lot of those things, and we actually have a great panel that's coming up this afternoon. It starts at 5:30. They're going to go into all of those sort of excruciating details with the Terrans.
So, how finalized are the units right now? Because I know, you've been pulling units in and out and redesigning sort of their abilities. So, with what we're seeing here, can we expect most of this to be in the final game?
That's a great question, and to be honest with you, no, you shouldn't expect anything here to be in the final game necessarily. We're playing with what we feel is fun right now, and right now it feels close to something that we're going to use as sort of our guideline right now, but anything could change. And as the public, I think, has seen at this point, there were just some units in there literally for us last week that have now changed. 2 units at least on each side, and that's a big, that's what we expect to have happen at least until we start heading into beta. We don't even have our whole company playing at this point, so once we get the whole company playing, get our own feedback infrastructure working, then we'll roll it out, and that will be a lot more solid. But right now we are still playing around with the game, so expect change.
When might we see the Zerg?
Zerg will be definitely later this year. We'll definitely roll them out and give a sneak peek at them, and we're really excited to get the sort of feedback on those and let people see the new things coming with the Zerg, but it's still a bit off. We still have a few months out there before we're going to announce or get into the specifics on Zerg.
So here at BlizzCon, everyone was given goodie bags when they checked in, and in the goodie bags were cards with beta keys on them. But it didn't specify what the actual title was. Is that the StarCraft 2 beta?
No, not necessarily, but it's not also, I'm not saying it's not either. That hasn't been decided at this point. What we'll do is determine how many players we need for the beta, and then depending on our needs versus what happens with Wrath of the Lich King, it will probably be used in some sense in that manner, whether it's used for WoW or our game is still up in the air. I don't even know, to be honest with you.
And then have there been any developments with how Battle.net's going to work for StarCraft 2, like in terms of possible subscription fees or just features in general?
We're just concentrating on features right now. Battle.net's going to be a major overhaul. We are talking about, just how significant that is. We want to take it to the next level, the same way that with original StarCraft and jumping it up for Warcraft 3, where you had anonymous matchmaking and some, various elements where you could check your account and see portraits and track your wins and losses and that sort of thing. And we're going to do a market improvement that same way from Warcraft 3 into StarCraft 2 with features like that, but specifics we're not getting into at this point.
So what's the craziest thing you've seen here at BlizzCon so far?
Actually, that's a great question, and the craziest thing I saw, I was standing at the main stage showing somebody, hey, here's the main stage, and the doors open at 9, and I swear hundreds of people started running, sprinting full speed through the door. And I think I saw an old lady go down and somebody just step on her face and keep running. And I know I'm kidding, but I think people could have gotten hurt. It was I saw some shakiness and people were running. It was crazy. I'm like, well, you'll still get to see it. You know, I wasn't close to the door. I couldn't talk to them, but just watching the enthusiasm to get there and play. And they were all running to StarCraft 2, which was really cool. So,
when might we get more details on the single-player campaign?
actually, that's going to be coming out here. We have a lot of details. This afternoon at 5:30 p.m. we're rolling out actually specific details on some of the things we have planned for single player. It's a very different experience than what we've seen in our previous RTS games, and we're really excited to roll it out. I think you should actually wait and check that out rather than have me go into it here.
Can you talk just about the Thor? I mean, because I've seen it on screen. It's a huge tank unit. Just about how it works, what it can do.
Yeah, the Thor unit is a Terran large. It actually has some special abilities, but it's basically a large unit that's built directly by SCVs. You actually that SCV has to spend time just like a building it and constructing it, so that SCV is in use the whole time during its construction. It's a powerful unit. It has an ability called artillery, and it can basically cause area of effect damage. And the big weakness of it, though, however, is that it turns very slowly. So because it turns slowly, you can actually counter it by sort of microing your units around and behind it, which is something a little different than what we've seen in our previous craft series.
And you can have more than one of those on the field at a time?
Absolutely, yeah. You can have as many as you can afford to have. They have a pretty high food cost. I actually don't know it off the top of my head right now, but it's a higher food cost, and they cost a bit of money, but they do a lot of damage.
And do you have a release date on this yet?
No, sorry, no release date. When it's ready, you know, we're anxious to get it into full alpha internally in our company, and then into beta, and it will be some point after that. Sorry, that's all I can say.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Chris.
Thank you, appreciate it.